to me. That's because of trauma. Okay, thank God I had therapy. And so that is how these covert narcissists react. Yes, if you're around them long enough, it will fucking astound you. You're like, oh my God. That is how a 3-year-old would react. That is how a 5-year-old would react. I'm gonna get you. I'm hurting and I don't know how to express myself. I don't know how to tell you I'm hurting. I don't know how to tell you I'm angry. I don't know how to tell you you embarrassed me or I didn't like your tone the other day. I don't know how to tell you anything. I don't know how to speak like an adult. I have no emotional intelligence really, so I'm just gonna get you. I'm gonna make you pay. That is how the fucking covert narcissist does. I don't care if they're 45. I don't give a fuck how intellectual they are, how educated. That is oftentimes, I've seen several of them do it many times. That's how they react. They're passive aggressive and they want to get you. And they'll go behind your back and they'll do something to get you stressed out, to get you questioning them, to get you confused, off balance, make you feel insecure, make you feel just as fucked up as they do. Yes, just like a little child. So again, that's kind of what you're dealing with a covert narcissist. And yes, my male roommate responded to me that way many times, and people after him did too. And it fucking sucked. So let's keep going here. Yeah. They do it on purpose a lot because they want attention. They want narcissistic supply. They don't care if it's you raging at them, you mad at them, you go off on them, you reactionally abuse them. They don't care what it is. As long as you're giving them attention all the time, some kind of feedback, narcissistic supply. It all comes from their childhood. They didn't get enough. They need to be in therapy. Okay. I noticed it. Yeah. All right. And I said that, childhood, abandonment issues, no therapy, neglect issues, but they're all different. Like I said, they're all going to have different dynamics and characteristics to their personality. No one person is all good or bad. Remember that. I said that. Friend or roommate is going to operate differently than a romantic covert narcissist. When sex comes into play, everything is different. You've got a whole other dynamic there that they can use to manipulate you with. All of that, okay? And some covert narcissists have empathy. Some have empathy for only children, and they manage to raise children and love them and treat them well, but they have no empathy for other adults. Like, it's different with each one. Some have no empathy for the opposite sex, be it women or be it men. And they hide that. They pretend they have empathy for other people, but they don't. Every one of them are different depending on their certain life and their upbringing and what their troubles were. Some of them have cognitive empathy. They can fool you. It can confuse you. You know, a lot of times there's misconceptions out there. People need to study narcissism if they're interested in it, because there's no one-size-fits-all label. Oh, that's a narcissist. Boom, that's it, that little box. Nope. No. Again, the covert narcissist operates way differently than the others. Oh, and sorry, I am smoking real cigarettes still sometimes, but I'm mostly vaping. Yeah, some have cognitive empathy, where they intellectually understand other people, what they're suffering, but they don't emotionally feel it. It's not connecting there. They don't feel it. Like most of us would go, oh my God, that's hurting you. It's hurting me. I feel it in my stomach. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry I hurt you. Let me make up for it somehow. Fucking narcissist that's to the high end of the spectrum. Remember, narcissism falls on a spectrum. Most of us, I use my narcissistic traits for positive. Okay? And I outgrew a lot of my toxic narcissism throughout my life in therapy and working on it, what have you, spiritual studies and whatnot. But narcissism falls on a spectrum. And I can dip back into my toxic narcissism if I want to. If I need to fight a narc off, you goddamn right. I can pull on my narcissism any fucking day. But I don't want to have to do that. You know, I want to stay in my lane. I want to continue with my own growth and my own emotional maturity. But, yeah, cognitive empathy, a lot of them, they only feel for themselves. They can boo-hoo and whine about what happened to them. And I know they're caught in a trap, a lot of them. Well, all people do is pick on me. And all people do is make fun of me for expressing my problems. When I do express my problems, they just say, oh, boo-hoo, grow up. Because somebody did that in their childhood and neglected the hell out of their feelings like that, and they shouldn't have. And they should have had some therapy. Once they get in a relationship with someone, no one should do that to them either. No. And as I said in the beginning of this, I assure you, every reference I am making to a person or a situation, I assure you, I've been over backwards to give them the respect, the listening, the compassion, the friendship, the empathy, bent over backwards to do it. And I didn't get this attitude about them until they betrayed me relentlessly, till they mercilessly betrayed and broke my fucking boundaries down like I didn't exist, like I was a nothing to them. This attitude came about after that, okay? Because I assure you. But yeah, some of them can make you think they have empathy, and you'll get confused. But it's more of a cognitive empathy, like they understand feeling for others and what others might be going through, but they don't feel it. They don't feel it for you like a normal person would. I shouldn't do this to her. This is just not right. I just can't live with myself. I've got to stop doing this. It's hurting her. I see the stress in her. They don't feel that. Now, they want you to feel for their whiny asses. Yeah. Okay, that's how that goes. But sometimes, yeah, they have a cognitive empathy, or they can empathize with certain types of situations, but not other ones. It's kind of complex, you know, so you might want to do your own research. What else? Let's finish this up here because I really have to get going. So like I said, my goal here is always to share, to inform, to help people transform by sharing knowledge and just really staying in my own lane, trying to be an example. Knowledge, awareness, people with narcissistic traits, really high narcissistic traits. We already talked about the spectrum, how far people go with their narcissistic traits, what they do with it. Some of us born in trauma and neglect, some were overindulged. I already talked about that. Studies and statistics. We talked about how it develops in young people, just a little summary there. I talked about how angry and provocative I can sound at times, and yes, hell yes I do. But again, it helps me to release pain and validate myself. That's a big thing. You can never rely on your abuser or the person who hurt you, betrayed you, a narcissist. You can never count on them for validation. They're not going to give it to you. They know you want it. They're not going to acknowledge what they put you through and apologize and validate your feelings, that those feelings are important. They're not going to do it. You can't count on anybody for that but yourself. So I validate myself. I heal myself. And that's how I get my validation. By, anyone who would question that, by putting my experiences out there and talking about those things, it validates it. It validates that the experience was real, that it really happened. Because the abuse and psychological torment that a person suffers under a covert narcissist, they gaslight you. They try to drive you crazy. They try, like Norman Bates shit. Norman Bates and it was Psycho 2, where they were trying to drive him crazy again. Shit that wasn't there, that was there, and gaslighting him and lying to him. So it helps me to validate myself and put it out there and know that my experiences were real. They happened. They've been validated. They did it. They're accountable for it. Here's how I feel about it. That helps me to validate. Because again, you're not ever going to get it from them. That's a trap. Those of you seeking approval and validation from a narcissist or an abuser or a toxic person, and you just keep trying to get them to acknowledge what they've done to you, what they're doing to you, stop. Save your energy. Validate yourself through a positive channel, a hobby, creating, That's where you turn that into something positive, maybe that will help other people. So yeah, I need to validate those experiences because they try to stand in your fucking face and make you believe it never happened. No, it wasn't me. You're crazy. Fuck that. Okay, but yeah, ultimately, even with the attitude and all, I do care about people, even the narcissist. That's the thing. Even the narcissist. You know, most of us good, decent people, we love people. And if we love people, we fucking love them. Now, I didn't love that roommate. His ass was creepy and I got the fuck away from him. But, you know, sometimes we really do love a narcissist who is abusing us. Sometimes we really do love a toxic person in our family or partner. And it's there, you know, it's hard. We can't just change that immediately sometimes. We have to really find boundaries, safety for ourselves. We have to work those balances out. But yeah, what else? Boundary breaking, okay. I just feel like we have to be fierce, period. We have to be fierce. We can be loving, compassionate. We can have empathy, that's fine. But we have to be fierce at the same time. Absolutely fierce in our education, our knowledge, our boundaries. Picking up on, you know, paying attention to what's going on. We can't waste energy on trying to change them. Don't do it. Explaining to them. It's all in the studies if you look it up and study narcissism. Because they must want it. And most of them don't. The roommate was quite the ordeal, and I was very traumatized after that roommate situation for about a year. After I moved out, you know, I got another little house, my boys and I, and it wasn't until I got my dog. I felt very unsafe in that house. I felt like he was still coming over there, peeping in my windows. It was fucking awful. My anxiety, and how dare someone get by with psychologically abusing someone and causing them pain and suffering like that. It should be illegal, and they should prosecute people for it. And I keep mentioning that I heard in the UK, they're trying to put it into law where you can be prosecuted for psychological abuse. Now, I don't know how they would prove it. I don't know how all that would work. But I want to see it come to pass. Motherfuckers need to be accountable because they are putting... And it happens to men too. It's not just women. But more women are preyed on statistically. So yeah, I went through a lot of trauma, PTSD over that. It really triggered a lot of my childhood trauma, my fears. I suffered a great deal after I moved out. But once I got my dog, I got a lab named Mia, a lab mix. All of that changed. I never felt unsafe again. She was like an angel. And I started to heal and put that behind me. But then as I moved on into the future, I still had lessons to learn. I still had things I was working on my own. And I attracted more narcissists. Oh, yes. And I learned a lot more. And I had to start really breaking down and studying about it and learning what it was. So that was that. But I don't think people should be able to get away with that shit. If they refuse to own it, and like I said earlier, if they can be creepy enough to creep on you, to twist you, lie to you, come into your fucking life under false pretenses, pull all these things and never just stop the game and say, I own it, I'm sorry, then fuck them. They can be creepy enough to get their story told and be held accountable. I hope they get the message and they want to start changing and knowing that it's okay. It's okay to admit who they are, the problems they've had in childhood. It's okay to work on the inner child. It's okay to seek therapy. There's no fucking shame in it, man. There's more respect in that. But if they can't own it and they're going to keep doing it to people, secretly harming people, secretly hating and envying others, and they're supposed to be your best friend. They're supposed to be your family, your partner, someone you could trust, whoever. And they hate you for who you are, for your light, for your motivation, your ambition, your hobbies, your success, your happiness. They just hate, and envy, and I wish that was me. I want to take that. If I can't have you, or if I can't own and control you, or if I can't be like you, I want to compete with you. I want to be, they just have... Please look it up. It's very complex. I could never get it all into one video. Remember, they do look more like toxic codependents than narcissists. They're hiding in plain sight. They look vulnerable a lot of times. They don't operate in the same way. They don't have the same confidence at all as a grandiose narcissist. They wish they did. And they could if they wanted to work on it. If they were willing to work on it, they could. But both the grandiose and covert have inferiority issues and self-esteem issues. It's what brews the narcissism in early life. However, the grandiose gets out there and takes freaking action. They really do. You know, you got to respect the grandiose narcissist a lot of the time because they do what the fuck they want. They go get shit. They get ambitious. They don't sit around in a corner whining and self-pity and wanting people to feel sorry for them and sucking people into a black, dark web and a trap and envy. And you know, I'm not saying grandiose narcissists are good. They're not. They're assholes. They're selfish. They do a lot of bad shit. But I'm just saying at least you know what's up with them and it's just not as pathetic. Sorry, it's just pathetic if you're going to sit around the rest of your life using your wounds and your pain and your losses and your grief and all your shit from childhood to milk the life out of innocent people. If you're going to go through your whole life milking people and secretly hating and your little psychological games and your fantasies and really putting people through psychological distress and damage like that, that's the ultimate fucking betrayal. That is no friend. They need help. And I really do. I hope it evolves and more narcissists will get help. More and more people will learn and grow and become aware and less afraid and get help. Pathological envy, they have that. So just be aware. Just be aware. Educate yourself. Be knowledgeable about it. If you're in a situation like that, do not let it psychologically damage you. Like, I had to start getting a grip on a lot that I was going through. With that roommate, I got the hell out of there. And after, in the years after, I did not want, and it did have an effect on my brain. No matter how much therapy I've had, no matter how hard I try to stay in my lane and learn and keep my mind straight, it has had a psychological effect on me. So just be aware of these things. And because it hurts me to think of people out there in psychological traps, even the narcissists, because they were once abused. They were once trying to talk to someone, trying to express themselves, trying to grow, and it wasn't right, whatever happened to them. They were once, you know, and a lot of times we will feel deeply for them, but they are choosing to hurt other people. They're choosing to stay sick. They're choosing to hide behind a mask. They're choosing to use toxic defense mechanisms and lies, and they are choosing it, okay? So we have every right to choose to hold them fucking accountable. That's right. Because, yeah, it does cause damage, and I think it should be fucking illegal to sit up and psychologically fuck with somebody. Just, that's the worst. I think that's probably one of the worst creatures on this fucking planet. Because, hey, man, we all on this earth are trying to survive. We all have anxiety in some way. We all have disorders in some way, some of us worse than others. And for somebody to be in your life that's supposed to be a friend or someone close to you or somebody that's supposed to love you, for them to know that you struggle and put any extra stress or psychological torment or provoking on you or little kid shit, it's the ultimate betrayal. They need help, okay? So just be careful with that. That's it for me. That's part 2 of the covert narcissistic discussion, my experience with the male roommate some 15 years ago or so, my first ever real run-in with covert narcissism that I picked up on this weird, perplexing personality. So that was my experience. I hope you got something out of this video. I gotta finish up here and get out of here. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your feedback, your comments. I'm gonna be having regular content coming out. Hit like and subscribe if you want. And you guys take care. Thank you for watching.